power. My mega buddy. My mega sensors in. I'll make a mega diversion. It's mega stronger than the mega warp. Have enough mega power to mega move it. Wow, that was mega fun.
Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is our retro aficionado Unoclay.
Hello, I'm second this week. Why? Because nobody's here. I'm moving up the order, man.
Yeah, you just got to kill everyone else in front of you. That's the key to success.
Nice. How's it been? Sorry we missed last week. I think at least two of us were out of town and not able to record, so we didn't get to do anything. Did you just talk to yourself? Were you just like sitting?
Oh no, I do that every day. But I mean, sure. I did that day too, I guess.
I just sat there like with my headphones on, like being like, dude, Nintendo, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's not. You play Mike and you play yourself. You're like, no, dude, it sucks.
It's like the bipolar schizophrenic episode. This is amazing. No, it's not.
You're giving me ideas for the 100th episode if all four of us did our own recording of pretending to be the other people on the podcast.
Oh my gosh. That would be
the podcast
insane.
sound like each of us in our heads? I'd be like, I'm Matt, I'm nice. And I'd be like, I'm Eli, I'm thoughtful, nice, and sometimes snarky. I'm Mike, it sucks. Someone else has got to do me. I can't do myself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm a big dumb oaf. I'm Unoclay and I only like old games.
Everything's great. Being nice and caring about stuff. How could you?
Well, what have you? Let me do you the honors and say we usually start with what we've been playing. Matt, what have you been playing this week?
Well, to everyone's surprise, it's still Zelda because that's how I roll. I play a game for like 4 months straight. I'm basically at the final dungeon, not Hyrule Castle, but one of the Divine Beasts. You've probably seen it. It's one of the more obvious ones you'll see if you just look out in the world.
Oh, then it might be the only one I know of, like because I still have only faced one. But
well, it's not the one you faced. Put it that way.
Okay, then I don't know of it for sure. Because I don't even know what the other ones look like at all. I'm like for being for real.
I won't say it then.
I can mute it for the listeners if you want to say it.
Nah,
and then,
it doesn't matter. There's not that many, but apparently the one I'm gonna face off against is like the best one. So that'll be great because they haven't all been that great, to be honest.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer.
So the only one I thought was interesting was I'll just say because you've already done it. The elephant one.
I don't know about that one, but you just told me there's an elephant.
Dang it! I swear you said you did it.
Nope, you're confused. You forgot. It was one you can definitely see out in the world. That's why I went to that section of the world first and was like, what is that? And
so why don't you tell me which ones you did, and then I'll.
So listeners, we'll talk about Divine Beast for like 2 minutes if you're trying to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
And here it comes. I did the bird, the flying like bird one in the sky or whatever, like because I could see it.
Yeah.
And just kept wondering what it was, and so I just went in that direction when I started the game.
That was the only one you've done, right?
Yeah, that's the only one I've even seen that I know of. Like, I just got to a major part of the game when I played it the other day, or what I think is a major part of the game, which I'm not going to spoil for anyone. But I had to thread my way through a mysterious area, leaving it vague for people who haven't found it yet. Because if this is your first episode somehow, I'm super anti-spoiler, and I watched almost no videos about Zelda, and so like I am literally playing it like almost blind. Like when I find something, I didn't know it was in the game, even though the game's been out like 2 months. And so Matt, I'm gonna like say in a way that you might guess what I found the other day. It's important to the game. It's in almost every Zelda game, and I had to
once you said mysterious area, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I didn't even know the mysterious area existed, and then I found my way, and I paused the game right there and saved it because I was like running out of time to play, and so I haven't gone back to it. So like, I don't know if I'm doing things in a weird order or whatever, but so that's what's about to happen.
In fact, you're actually getting there. I got there like before this final Divine Beast. For clarification, there's someone outside setting off fireworks. I can faintly hear it, at least with my headphones on. I can't really do anything about it. That's just going to be the way it is.
Okay.
So
Well,
if you hear a popping sound, that's basically it in the background.
Someone's
But
celebrating. Okay,
yeah.
right on. Cool.
Once
Fireworks in May in Canada.
yeah,
That's
once
crazy.
once the warm weather comes out, people just do fireworks all throughout the summer. So it's kind of
firework
the thing.
party. Okay.
Yeah, but
maybe it's because they like Zelda so much and they were celebrating my achievement that I'm about to make in Zelda. Maybe even tonight. Maybe I'll turn it on and play it some more and take that step into a new world. But neat. So you're still loving it, but you're saying that, like, it sounds like you're saying, if I can interpret, that in your playthrough of the game, you've loved the game, but you're saying that the dungeon boss divine beasts are almost lackluster compared to the rest of the game. Like, is that...
Yeah, pretty much. They seem like they were, I don't want to say an afterthought, but it seems like what they sacrificed in this game was, in other games, dungeons, you had multiple a lot more dungeons, and they'd be a lot more thorough or complex, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But to make the world feel populated, they decided to say, hey, instead of making like the last game's 8 dungeons that, may take a few hours each, let's spread out those puzzles all across the world so that you're not just running around in an empty void. And then the consequence is that the actual dungeons are going to suffer for that. And I kind of expected that, because when they were showing off the game, they didn't really focus too much on the dungeons. And they're like, I heard like Audrey Drake in some stream say like, oh yeah, there's like traditional dungeons in here. And it wasn't even like an official press thing that I saw. It was just like offhand I heard from her. So it's like they're really keeping quiet. That means there's something not good about this. So embrace yourselves.
Interesting.
And of course that was accurate. So that's kind of unfortunate. And I'm hoping the DLC dungeon is more complex or thorough or whatever, because it's costing money, and it better be better than what we have if a lot of that's going to go towards that. But that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm only at like 60 hours, maybe 50, 60 hours into the game, and like I have like 12 or 13 friends in my friends list now, or people I know that I care what they think, and like so I looked at their play times the other day to see, because I was kind of I was getting the idea, like a lot of people say around 100 hours you finish the game, something like that. That's about where you are, maybe 100 hours or something like that. No,
really?
I don't know. I haven't actually checked like the log, but I think I'm way past 100 hours at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're past 100. Okay. Yeah. That was why I asked, because when I looked at, like, I took like a sample of maybe like 10 friends I know to see what their play count was, and I don't remember specifically. I know Mike was one of the lowest, one of our co-hosts here. Mike, who has openly said he is not that wowed by the game, that he thinks it's great but not good.
Yeah.
Just referencing back to that classic my Just Another Castle review. But he had one of the lowest. I think he had like 30 hours so far, which he's openly said it hasn't really grabbed him as hard as everyone else. But most people had around 100, where it looked like they'd capped out. And these are people I'm pretty sure have finished the game. And then there were some outliers, of course, like Mike being on the low end. And then one of my friends must be going Korok seed crazy.
Oh my
because
gosh.
he had like, I am not joking, I think he was closing in on 200 hours. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have my Switch nearby or I'd check, because I want to say it was over 200, but I don't want to exaggerate. Like, I remember thinking, you are way out there compared to everyone else. And unless you just turned your Switch on and left it on by accident and didn't have the power down function enabled or something, or maybe you just kept playing it and leaving it lay and coming back to it every hour or two, like you must be going Korok crazy or something, like just amazing count. But I'm at like 60, and but I'm not anywhere near tired of it. I just play it here and there, But I know you had said like 2 weeks ago when we talked, you were feeling like, you were feeling like a virgin at prom time. You were like, it's time. I got to do this.
Gosh.
Those are my words, not Matt's, just to clarify.
Yeah, I've done like all the side or there was still, I could have done this dungeon like a little bit earlier, but some other side quests pop up, and I'm like, all right, I'll do some of these more. But I think I'm pretty much, the next time I turn on the game, I'm gonna just go for this dungeon, and then
go. Maybe
go from
for
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good.
I'm a little reluctant to hit that point because given
Yeah.
that
Well.
this is the Switch's big game, in terms of like a AAA adventure title. Like, not that the other stuff we're always talking about isn't going to be big. Not that Arms might not like end up being really awesome. Not that like Splatoon 2 isn't going to grab me, but like the big game, like adventure style game. The thing that Nintendo, started its career on, and well, not really, but in some ways, like is known for when it was a fledgling company making these like games that really redefine like adventure games and action adventure and things like that. I'm like, well, I want to have one of those around to play. So it's almost like saving it a little bit, going really slow with it is something I've been enjoying, but to each their own for sure. If you're going to get tired of it.
That's insane that you're only 60 hours in. I mean, I know that's a lot, obviously, when you're looking at it. Only 60,
Sure.
But
Oh yeah,
it's like
yeah,
3
yeah.
months in, and I'm surprised I still haven't like just finished it
Yeah.
already.
No, there's so many other games in my life. It's like, you can't date all the women you want in your life, but you can play as many games as you want. So it's like, hey, like it's nice having it around, and then like a few days will go by for me, and it'll cool off, like where I'm not thinking about that much, and then I'll say to myself, I will literally think, what should I play tonight after I get everything done? And I'll think, I haven't played Zelda in a few days, and I'll think it won't be the first thing that's grabbing me anymore, like that I've got to play it the way you are the first couple days out with it. But then the second I sit down and turn it on, I'm like, this is just so good, and I'm like right back into it. Like it's unlike a lot of games in that way, even that it has that staying power that I can come back to it, even not being like pumped up. And then after I'm like just in the world for a minute, I find something new, and I'm like, here we go again. Like, what is this? And that's especially relates to my anti-spoiler stance, because I think I enjoy it so much more because of that. Finding a new area, and then maybe only half my map is unlocked. Like, I'd say more than half the map is still blacked out. So, yeah. So,
Nice.
but well, happy to hear you're making progress. Like, I know you're still playing it on the Wii U version, and
Yeah.
like winding up to the big Switch purpose in a couple months or whatever. So,
one thing I should note that I don't know if many people have said is the Zelda game, or the Zelda game, as if whatever. That was weird way to say it. Yeah.
That Zelda game.
Yeah.
No.
But no, I've had some frame rate problems where you'll be in a battle and it'll just freeze on a frame for like a couple of seconds, and it's like, this is not good. And sometimes it doesn't even have to have like one time there were like 5 enemies or something, or maybe like an explosion went off inside of like a skull. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I can understand why like it shouldn't freeze or whatever, but I could at least understand why. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, there's 2 enemies here and one's attacking you and it's freezing. It's like, okay. It's like,
I've had that same thing on the Switch. I've had it happen, not frequently, but once or twice, where it got really draggy, and like, I mean, the draw distance and the object persistence in this game is really good. Like, so there's a lot of stuff for, that isn't always obvious. Like, I totally agree. It's like, it's really noticeable once in a while. I'd say I could count it on one hand in 60 hours, the number of times I've noticed it badly, where it was like stuttering. And like you said, it's like you're in a battle, maybe you're in a really big area, and like, multiple enemies are doing multiple things and all that stuff. And it's like, it doesn't destroy it at all for me, and I almost always played it docked on Switch. So it's a problem that's consistent in both versions, docked, undocked, or Wii U, I'd say at this point, because I'm seeing it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, but it's not frequent. Is that the same for you? Kind of like infrequent, but
yeah, like when it happens, it's clearly noticeable. I think I've had it happen like 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
It seems like it's about to crash the game or something. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Which is like, gets you worried. Like, is this gonna, like, the first time it happened, I'm like, is my game gonna crash? And it just like fixed itself after a couple
That's exactly how it felt to me. So, the only one or twice, but it was like that. It felt like, holy crap, like it froze, you know what I mean? And then I thought, and then it stuttered once, stuttered twice, and then it kicked back to life, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But
anyway.
moving on. I bought a microphone this week. I'm not using it now. I don't know if I'll use it for the podcast or not. But I almost had a heart attack and almost wanted to kill myself because I almost dropped it on concrete. And the reason it would have been on concrete is because I was setting it up in my computer room, and it has a fireplace in it, and it has like this concrete slab on it. And I had the stand. I bought a mic stand for it too, so I had it on the stand, and I was twisting it off because it's just easier to twist off the mic than do it the other way with the stand or whatever. There isn't really like a thing on it.
Stand, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, but I thought it was going to. So there's two things. There's something on the stand that kind of locks it into an angle, so you can like unlock it and adjust it at an angle and move it that way and whatnot. And I locked it, and I forgot that I locked it. So when I was unscrewing it, I figured it would like droop a bit, and then I'd be like, okay, well now the weight is pushing it down, and I can see that it's unloosening the threads. And it wasn't, obviously. And then it came off, and it started falling off, and I was lucky enough to catch the dumb thing in the air.
Cat-like reflexes.
Yeah. Oh my god. I didn't even drop it on like just the regular floor. So I was... I almost wanted... I had a heart attack and wanted to kill myself because I just bought the microphone. It's pretty expensive. I just got it like that day, and I was testing it out for the first time. I only made like a test recording because I don't have a way to perfectly test it. Basically, I'm going to record in the basement. I had to record up in the main room where there's like static and whatnot. But I just said like the intro for Just Another Castle and compared it to like the previous episode just to see how clear it was. And it was really clear. But I...
Well, congratulations.
Geez, that was such a close call. I was gonna die. Be like, I just spent like $200 on a microphone and I broke it.
Oh man, Like I think the natural thing a listener would be wondering at this point is like, if it's not for the podcast, it's we're gonna assume it's for your video. Maybe you're gonna do some more Smash announcer videos or something, or for your video projects that you work on.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm talking with one channel that I might be doing stuff with. We were in talks before. I kind of like sent them a demo of something and see if they were interested. They were interested. We haven't been in touch much. There's some things on their end that they haven't like dealt with yet. But once I get this connector so I can connect it to my iPad and record in a proper environment, then I'll just send them like a reminder and be like, hey, I got a new mic. It sounds great and not like ass. So I don't know how it works.
And that's the guy that made the Zelda Skyward Sword comparison video that has like 6,000 views last time I checked. So you might want to check me out again, right? Like hype a little.
Exactly.
You use that, man. Use that. Yeah. Like you had the biggest success of anything I think you've ever released with your Zelda Skyward Sword video, right? Like is that that's
no. Speaking of not to humble brag, but one of my other videos is this Smash 64 trailer done with like Smash 4 footage and whatnot, and that's like 450,000 views or something. But recently it got like a random surge of videos, and I'm like trying to figure out like what's going on. I asked some people on Twitter, and they're like, there was some Smash tournament, and I'm like, I guess that was it, because the weekend that Smash tournament was going on, I got like, I don't know, 50-something thousand viewers in like the span of 2 or 3 days or something crazy. And
brother,
it was insane. I'm like,
someday you're going to be leaving this little podcast behind to go out on your YouTube celeb tour, and then we're going to hear about all your blunders in the media when you say something improper in the media, and then we're going to be like, we knew that guy when he was nice Canadian. Now he came down. He's all Hollywood Matt now.
Yeah. Oh man.
Someday, man. You can only dream. You can only dream to fall from grace on YouTube, like in a crash and burn fiery hate storm of Twitter rage someday.
It's just crazy how something can, get popular overnight.
Yeah.
Like it's just out of nowhere. It's like, boom, here's like another 50,000 views or whatever it was. I'm like, okay. Because I didn't even know. I didn't even, like with views, I don't really notice because I mean, like I see whatever
Trickle.
my channel statistics and like views, but it's not something that like I really notice a whole lot. But I have monetization, and I noticed that jumped up like I don't know,
Wow.
almost tenfold, and I'm
Well,
like, what happened here? And I looked at like the
since
views, and it skyrocketed, and I'm like, what happened? I didn't do anything. It wasn't posted anywhere.
since
Like,
you are the
okay.
humble Canadian of the podcast, I'm going to go ahead and remind people that your channel is the Mango Viking on YouTube. That's the Mango Viking, and he does make some funny videos. So that's all I'm going to say about it. We've hyped it enough, but
All right,
yeah, that's
thanks.
great, man. Congratulations. That's a what you've been playing segment update for sure.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I've been bragging about myself.
that's what I've been
Um,
humble bragging about this
yeah,
week. What about you?
yeah. So, what about you, Unoclay?
I like. There was like 100,000 people that said hi to me last week. It was great. I was traveling last week, so
Oh,
we
right,
we
yeah. Where'd you go again?
I was down south at my brother's place in North Carolina. He lives in a little town called Asheville. That's pretty popular. It's a cool town. So I was down there, but I got to take the Switch on the road. So I don't think I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. My little brother put it on his YouTube channel, but I'm not even going to hype it. I'll describe it with words since this is an audio podcast. But my brother had made a video of us playing snipper clips with my niece and nephew, who I've mentioned before, who are adorable little American kids and who are little enough that when they play video games, they're adorable in that little kid way that they don't really know how to play it. They just get excited and yell crazy stuff. And
Yeah.
he had put a video on his YouTube channel of us playing snipper clips together, which they call cut, play the cut game, Uncle Clay. Can we play the cut game? And all they want to do is just load up the like level 1 vanilla screen, and we just chop each other to pieces. And they are little enough that is the funniest game, that they get breathless screaming hysteria going over it. Like, it's just like, do it again. Or like, that'll be like 15 straight minutes of that. Like, cut me. And it's like little kids yelling, cut me. And it's really demented, bizarre if you think about it. You know, you're like, yeah, okay. But we played a little bit of that. But what was really amazing, I'm not even the world's biggest fan of like kid, like, oh, aren't they cute kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But like, it's pretty amazing to see my niece, who's about 5.5 or 6 almost. She's little enough that you wouldn't expect her to know how to play a game. And then like, she's pretty smart, I'd say, for a kid of that age. And once I explained how to play snipper clips a little better to her, and we got past the initial hysteria of like, holy crap, I can walk around and cut you. We actually finished like 4 levels together.
Oh, nice.
Me doing most of the work,
Sure.
like me mostly doing it. But the fact that I could direct her and she would get it, and like, I'd be like, walk your character over there and stand there. And I wouldn't have to like help her. I could just tell her. And then she'd be like, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to like catch the bowling ball and walk toward you. And then you got to stand up on your tippy toes, and I'm going to jump on your head and put it in the basket or whatever, you know, the really simple early levels.
Mm-hmm.
And she could do it. It was eye opening that I'm like, I don't really want to ever have kids, but I would have people to play video games with.
Oh my gosh. You just go through that whole ordeal of having a child just so you can have one other person to play games with.
Yeah. I was like, I'd have to change a lot of diapers. Would that be worth having a teammate for Call of Duty someday? Like, like, I don't know about all that, but this is fun. Nieces and nephews are great. You can rent them, you know, for a few hours.
Exactly.
So, you
all
know,
the fun
so,
and no responsibility.
Yeah, all the fun. Very well. I could tell stories and go on about that. I failed at Uncle Duties when I wasn't really supposed to be watching my nephew, but my brother left the area while his kid was in the tub. And my nephew took all the shampoo and all the conditioner, dumped it all in the tub. Me and my wife didn't notice. We weren't really supposed to be watching him, but we were the only adults around. And then my wife, Tara, goes, hey, the tub looks orange. And we go in there and we find my naked 3-year-old nephew going, I made soup. And he's like slimy. He's got water all over the floor. There's like everything's just floating in the tub, all the bottles. And we just look at each other like, we don't know how to deal with this. Like, let's just go get my brother. Like, you know, I'm like, I'm going to put you under the faucet, nephew. And he starts to scream. I'm like, forget this. Like, I'm like walking out of the room. So other than little kids playing video games, what else have I been playing? I played Played a bunch of Graceful Explosion Machine on the road in the car while we were taking turns driving because it's about a 10-hour drive. Played a bunch of that. Still really, really good Switch game. Not too expensive, and it's pick up and play bullet hell / space shooter type game. It's really fun. It's got a really cool multiplayer mechanic. I talked about it before in depth, but I still think it's really worth mentioning. It's a really good portable type title for Switch. So I played a lot of Graceful Explosion Machine, and what else? I didn't play too much Zelda because I like playing that on the big screen. But and then I got home here, and I finally won an eBay auction for a copy of Mega Man 4 while I was away. Yeah, I never owned it on the NES because, like, in my day when we were kids, you know, Mega Man was as big as you've heard. He was a big deal. I'm old school enough that I can be like, I like that band before it was cool because I did play Mega Man 1 before Mega Man 2 made it blow up, because in that era Mega Man 1 wasn't super famous. It was just another game on NES when we were kids, kind of.
Yeah.
And then what's that? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I think my introduction to Mega Man was the Power Battle. Someone gave me like a MAME or multiple arcade machine emulator, and that was one of the games on it. And that's like a great introduction because it goes through like 1 through 7 or something. Like, it doesn't have all the boss masters, but it has like enough across like the entire series at that point. Yeah. So it's like, holy shoot, you get all of it wrapped in one.
Yeah, yeah. I've never played that. I know of it. I've never played that because I've in fact been saving all the other ones. Well, my point of all that was I played one when I was a kid at my friend's house. I can still remember, and I have a pretty crappy memory from my childhood, but I can still remember Mega Man 1 because it was pretty hard. And I was new to playing Nintendo at the time, and I was like, this is really cool, but just too hard for a game that we just rented. And like, he was mainly playing, I was mainly watching, so it was like, but 2 and 3 exploded, like really big. Nintendo Power just covering the crap out of them, all that stuff that you've heard about. But what happened was it was like a firework that burned really bright and then like fizzled for maybe some of us, because like I never even remember hearing about Mega Man 4. And I'd have to check release dates. It might have come out near the end of NES, or maybe when Super Nintendo was already out. I'm not quite positive. I doubt it.
It is 1991, December 1991.
Okay, so like it was not like NES was over, but 3 and 2 were such big deals that like it was kind of like a series that was becoming annualized or franchised the way we do today. You know, that it's like, well, who cares? Another one.
Yeah.
And I don't remember ever hearing about it. That's the weirdest thing. I was a full-grown adult before I heard there were other Mega Mans that were like, wait a second, it didn't end with 3? Like, I just had fallen off the map with that stuff.
Oh, man. You don't even know how many more there are.
Yeah, no.
Like
I mean,
there's like 4 other series. There's 10 of the original classics. Yeah, there's Mega Man X, Z, ZX, Battle Network, Star Force.
See, I remember vaguely hearing
the
about those other
PS2 one. It's not Adventure, but oh man,
one of the numbered ones on PS2, isn't it? I think it's like 8 or something is on.
Oh yeah,
I think,
it has one of those, but it has like an Adventure.
One of them like betrayed Nintendo and went to like another system, and it was like, what?
Mega Man Legends was the other one I was thinking of, but yeah, there's like 8 on PS2 or whatever. But yeah, there's so many. It's ridiculous. I
think to me, those were just not legitimate in my mind, so I never even paid them any mind. Like a non-numbered entry was like, oh, well, the only real ones in my mind. I never researched it. I remember I just was like done with it because it was like, it was not on Super Nintendo in the way I wanted to play it. I didn't want to play Mega Man X. Like, even when I played it as an adult, I thought it was only okay. I wasn't like crazy about it. Like, it doesn't have the same feel as an 8-bit game.
It's okay, you're wrong.
I know. No, people love that series. I know, man. It's a difference. It's the way 8-bit feels just a little different, and that's it, you know. And it's because it was so ingrained with 2 and 3 that I could never quite see it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I played a lot of Mega Man 4 this week because I kind of made a metric for myself. I was like, I don't want to pay more than $30 for it, like, because it floats around $30 right now for the original NES cart on eBay. Typically, you're going to pay a little more than that, and I kept, just for no reason at all, just made a rule in my mind. I was going to pay less than 30 for it. So I just kept losing auction after auction because it's a pretty popular game, as you can imagine. A lot of people want to have the complete series. So, and it's not like in short supply because it's not like a rare cart, you know. Mega Man 5 out of the original is the most expensive NES cart, which floats around 80 to 100. because I don't know why. Weirdly, 6 is cheaper. Like I don't own 6, but I know it's a cheaper cart than 5 anyhow to get a hold of. So anyway, I was trying to get it. I finally got it. I played a bunch of it. It's exactly what you want. It is exactly like Mega Man 2 and 3 in a lot of ways. Not too much creativity in it from what I've seen so far. It's but not in a bad way. Like it's just Mega Man. It is just Mega Man. Here's another one. Here's here's more bosses. Here's more, enemies. Here's like some goofy like scenery and good music. So yeah, I'm liking it a lot. I'm doing that thing where like Mega Man expects you to like kind of have to hack it, like you go through and you don't know which boss, rock, paper, scissors, you don't know the pattern. And yeah, you could cheat really easily and look up like the weakness chart, of like what boss should you go after first. And I'm forcing myself to not do that because Mega Man levels are usually pretty short anyway. So it's taken me a lot longer than it would otherwise. Like I probably played some of the levels like 3 or 4 times where I went back in with new items to see, okay, is the boss vulnerable now that I have this new item? And I don't know if the balancing's quite right in this one or if I just haven't figured something out. But it's still fun. I'm having some question mark about it. You remember? I don't know if people remember the energy tanks that are in Mega Man that you can pick up in parts. I think 2 and 3 they were introduced. I'm not sure if it was only in 3, but like the refill tanks you can carry with you. Well, it's almost like the game is balanced wrong, and I say that without having beat it, so I could be completely wrong. But like, it almost expects you to use energy tanks to finish levels. Because even though now I have like 5 out of the 8, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 bosses down. The bosses I face still aren't like showing much vulnerability to the weapons I'm carrying. And so I end up having to use energy tanks. And that to me feels wrong because I feel like I should, if Mega Man was balanced perfectly, you would have like maybe a super difficult but fighting chance to beat him with the Buster. Yeah. Like, or at least you'd have a shot. Like of beating some of the bosses with the Buster alone. And I can say that out of the 5 I've beaten, only 1 was I ever even close to beating him with just the Buster and not any of my weapons really working on them. So I was like, this feels weird because it's almost like it expects you to use the energy recharges, which means you have to then farm levels to get enough energy tanks. You have to go back to levels you already finished, which this one allows you to do that, like re-enter a level and finish it again and pick up the energy tanks in it again. So you can use them on another level. And that's like, to me, that feels a little off in the balancing, but I'm not hating it. It's still a great Mega Man game. It's still classic. It's exactly what you want. The graphics are the exact engine that was most likely used to make 3 and 2. So yeah, it's recommended. It's with some question mark I have about like the balancing, like I said. So yeah, Mega Man 4. That's my big report for the week.
Yeah, and looking at the boss, the boss masters or whatever, the finding out, I don't know, the weapon triangle or whatever, figuring out which one goes with which is not obvious in the slightest because it's not like the first one where it's like, oh, fire beats ice, or ice beats fire or whatever, or, rock beats electricity or something. I don't remember the exact ones, but you could figure out which elements go against each other. And here you got like Toad and Dustman and Bright and Skull. Like some of these could be elements, water, electricity or whatever, but then you got like Pharaoh and then rings and skulls. Like what? There's no possible way any human could actually figure out.
It's comically mentioned that. I thought about that while I was playing it, and I thought, that's exactly what I thought. I thought to myself, I haven't given one whit of thought to like trying to decode if there's a pattern, because intuitively I think that had dawned on me. Like none of these names mean anything. Like they're just like, they're not in relation to each other. It's like a Pharaoh man. Like what beats Pharaoh? Snakes? Well, I don't have any snakes, like I don't even know.
Snake Man was in the previous game.
Yeah,
how am I gonna get him over here?
Not even in this game, like Pharaoh, like what beats him? Like I don't know, the sands of time, like destroy your empire eventually. Like I don't know,
the sun
Turks.
Blocking move. Mr. Burns jumps out from nowhere.
Exactly, I know. So I gave up on that, and that's a shame because I think that's a consequence of the series. Just they just got to like annualizing the franchise mentality. Like get him out quick, you know what I mean? Because like by the time you're getting to this one, there's definitely items that are like pretty much a repeat of like previous games, because Skull Man pretty much is Leaf Man, only you can't throw the shield. You can only put the shield around yourself, and like it's a little more powerful than Leaf Shield at guarding you, it feels like. But you're starting to get that level. You're like, what else is there that Mega Man can really do that's super different, here? And that's okay, because Mega Man's just awesome, great series no matter what. And it's kind of like it almost feels like a ROM hack on some level, where you're like, somebody just like took the assets and made a whole new game, but it's not, because it's got a great new soundtrack, and it's got new look to it for what it's worth in the same engine, so it's cool. I mean, Mega Man, it's a classic, it's a legend. So it's like kind of something I've been looking forward to for a while. I was like, I got to get 4 next, so I can play 4 before I play 5 and 6, and maybe someday I'll try out 7 and 8. Like I never played 10 either on the new ones. I played 9 and loved it.
Yeah.
So I did go out of sequence there, but other than that, I kind of wanted to play them in order. So it's proving fun so far. So
nice.
That's what I've been playing.
It's just one of those series where it's not even a love it or hate it. It's like you like it or don't like it, because they're like, this series has the same problem with like the other branches of its franchise. Is once you have 1 or 2 that set the rules, the rest are very samey. So it's like once you know how one works, it's basically the same for the other ones. So it doesn't even matter which order anyone wants to play them in. It's just like, if you like them, then just play whatever one has, I don't know, the most interesting bosses you think, or whatever.
The difference being a little bit from Mega Man, like against other series where like sameness is a big problem. Like I would point at Zelda for an example of that, where sameness almost sunk the ship for me a couple times over the years. Mega Man had all those different franchises you mentioned that like almost like Mario, like presses different buttons. It's like, well, Battle Network's nothing like real Mega Man to me, which is why I never wanted to play it. I was like, well, that's not Mega Man from when I tried it. I'm like, but hey, people seem to like them a lot, so more power to them, like it's just not my thing. But that's, Mega Man was allowed to like kind of blossom as a series into different directions, because it was such a titanic hit for a long time. And here's to them maybe realizing that sometime and bringing it back, figuring out how to do that.
That was actually kind of their downfall. They said in some interviews that basically they had so many different series that they didn't really have an identity for Mega Man at all, because you have so many different branches that they all kind of fit their own niche in a way. And they're like, we don't really know what to do with it. So they ended up canceling like Mega Man Legends 3 and Mega Man Universe, which was this kind of Mario Maker sort of thing where you make your own levels, and you can mix and match like Mega Man heads and body parts with different characters. They had like Street Fighter characters and other Capcom characters and other Mega Man bosses.
Awful. That sounds tremendously awful, but
the art style was horrible. It seemed like a cool idea, but that's kind of where they left it off. They're like, we didn't really have one cohesive cohesive like definitive series for it. So that's kind of where it trailed off. And it looks like they might be like they have a cartoon show coming up, and they're probably going to have a game with it. There were some rumors about that a while ago. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see if it goes. I kind of don't want it to look to be like the new face, because it's kind of not great. I think it's better than it was before and what people were giving credit, but I don't want to see it that way for like the next 5 or 6 years, because it is really like kid-like, like Ben 10. It's made by the new show is made by the Ben 10 team or whatever, but the Tron kind of look is kind of cool, but I don't know, it could be better.
I haven't seen it, but for me, I'm a funny person, because it's like when it comes to Mega Man, like I only see my interest ever being core 8-bit style Mega Man games, like where I'm not really that interested in seeing the franchise on the other versions. I know the other versions were popular, so I don't begrudge them. But for me, it's like, it's a really hit or miss proposition, because I'm like, I just want them to make Mega Man 11 in the style of the other ones, or I'm open to the idea of innovating on that style, like, but I don't really want it to become a different genre of game. I don't really want an RPG flavored Mega Man. I want Mega
Jump
Man.
and shoot, man.
I want Jump and Shoot Man.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. I want Jump and Shoot Man with different items, but go ahead and surprise me. Like, Mario's done it tons of times, like go ahead and innovate. I'm not saying you shouldn't change it up a little bit, because that's probably something worth considering after 10 installments that are relatively samey all the way through, even though it's like ages between each one at this point, like I wouldn't be opposed to it. But at the same time, yeah, it's like, even the Super Nintendo versions, which people love, like it just felt a little different to me, and I was like, it's like, like I'm good on this. I never finished X, even much less the sequels, so it was like, but that's personal taste. So anyhow, yeah. Mega Man.
I want Sakurai to do the next, like, just have him do it. I'd be like, because he's so good at like going to the core of what's special about the series and what could be like unique about it. I'm just thinking about like how he took Kid Icarus and made that so much more interesting. Yeah, I would love to see that with Mega Man, because it is a series that has gotten like samey, even if it has different branches and they all kind of do their own separate things. But like, he could make that series come back and be like amazing. That'd be, be awesome.
Like, are you ever going to sit on a Nintendo podcast and suggest something like X series could really benefit if Sakurai touched it, and have people agree with you? Yeah, dude, I hear you. Ivy the Kiwi could be like a really great series. like Sakurai would just get a pause on that one, be like looking at a blockbuster. Yeah, I'm down with that though. Hear you, man. That would be
its own podcast series. Just each week is a different game. Like, he could do this better. Yep.
What if Sakurai did this? And just all the memes of Sakurai's like eyes exploding with lasers and stuff, like all the time, just like he's magic. Yeah, I agree with that. I love that Kid Icarus reboot. Absolutely, tootly. I absolutely well put. The guy has an imaginative mind, and I would never say no to seeing him apply his talents to something like Mega Man. But good luck with the franchise hell IP problems that Mega Man has and getting that to happen. I doubt
it. See it. No.
Yeah. So in the real news, not the fake news, what do we got on the slate today, man? That's enough about what we've been playing.
So some quick announcements. Shantae Half Genie Hero is coming, both retail and digital, on this summer. That's kind of cool. Harvest Moon Light of Hope is a new Harvest Moon game coming to Switch and PC, which is interesting. Yeah.
Sorry if I yawn out loud.
Well, I thought other people might be here, but that's not happening.
I'm just kidding. Harvest Moon.
And then one game I was kind of interested that Mike was playing was One Piece Unlimited World Red. That's also getting a Switch release in September. It's like a third-person action game, or I was going to say fighting. It's not a fighting game, but it is a third-person action game. It looks pretty cool. I actually thought about buying it.
One Piece, but I never played a One Piece game, but they're not. I figured they'd be more like a Pokemon-style game. They're not. They're action games.
This one is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because the character is all about like his stretchy arms and whatnot, so it's all about like beating the crap out of people.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, on to some news. So Splatoon released a new trailer for the single-player mode. And they also have like a Splatoon bundle coming in Europe and Japan, but not in North America for some reason. I don't know, maybe they're just not announcing it yet because they're stupid. Japan gets a green and pink Joy-Con bundle, which is weird. Europe doesn't. I don't know why. And then Japan also gets like green and pink accessories, like themed Splatoon 2 themed Nintendo Switch stuff, like a Pro Controller and some other things. This is just weird because Nintendo doesn't have... The consistency is what's weird to me. It's like, oh, well, this one region gets this thing, this one gets another thing. I mean, I guess, like, each region is separate and makes their own decisions, but this is, like, not a different model, whatever. I guess you could say a different SKU of the Switch, and I wouldn't see why you wouldn't have it in all the places. They're just weird. Anyway,
well,
yeah, go on.
the one thing I was going to say is like we all know it's like a meme almost, but how big Splatoon is in Japan.
Yeah.
And they could just be looking at numbers like sheer production capacity / popularity and saying Splatoon, we're looking forward to having a reasonably good sales season for the game, but are these accessories gonna, fly also? Which brings me to a question. I was actually not aware that the Pro controller that I saw, the pink and green Pro controller, was not going to be available to the United States. Is that the case? It's right now only for Japan?
Yeah.
Or other countries?
Yeah, no one else has announced it. I don't know why.
That's
one of the dumb things where it's like you could have them in all regions. Like it would sell. Like Splatoon was popular, I'm pretty sure, everywhere. Like Japan, it was really popular, but I mean it was popular everywhere. So that's why I wouldn't see why you wouldn't have a bundle announced for all the regions. My only guess would be like they don't have something set up yet, or they haven't made enough units, so they don't want to say something and then be like, yeah, we have all of 3 units prepared, even though it's not for like another month or whatever. But that's my only reason why they wouldn't say some of these things. But I don't know. It just seems so weird that just make. I can't even speak English.
Do it better, Nintendo.
Pretty much. Like announce it all at once, or just wait. Don't do this half-ass like, well, this one region has this one thing and another has another, and maybe you'll get it in yours. It's like, are you doing it in all of them or not? Because to me, it's like if you're going to announce something, announce it for whatever region is going to get it, and if it's not, then
possibly.
I guess it's it.
Maybe they could be testing the reaction waters, because we all know they're conservative with their build numbers and their like, how much they can make. They're clearly having supply chain issues, or it does seem that way for like even the Switch itself, much less not supply chain issues so much as like production rate challenges. But like it could be for something that's really odd and off, like these really, I mean, when you look at the comments on the Pro controller with the pink and the green handles or whatever, the Splatoon colors, it really is garish looking. And the comments reflect there's a big split from what people think of it. Like, I mean, just looking at one message board where I was looking at the picture of it, the comments are all over. Like some people are like, that is gross. I would never buy that. And like, I see where they're coming from. Me, I don't have a Pro controller yet. I didn't want to throw down another $80, like on top of everything else, buying a Switch. Yeah. And since I'm mainly playing Zelda, I don't need it. I like playing the Joy-Cons, but I'm going to want a Pro controller some point for sure. And this would be a great time for me to buy it. And I like Splatoon. And even though, yes, those controller colors aren't my like number one pick, because honestly, I think they're going to get dirty. Like that pink and green are going to show dirt like really quick, and your hands sweat and everything like that are going to like ruin that controller like after not very long, is my suspicion, because they look kind of vinyl-y or something. Like there's like a texture to them when you look at the picture closely. Yeah, I like it because it's different enough and bizarre, and I like Splatoon. So, but I also wouldn't think I may represent the majority there. Like I might be a vast minority of people who would think this is cool and want to buy it. So maybe they're just waiting to gauge interest. Maybe they're waiting until they know they can fulfill orders, like for other regions, to announce it. Yeah. And I mean, I hear you. You're like, you'd like to know.
Because I was kind of expecting they would do Splatoon 2 bundle or sort of thing, so that's why I was also kind of waiting, like maybe I'll wait till E3 to see like what they're gonna do, because maybe if they pack it in and it's the same price, then maybe I'll hold off on buying one for that. I don't know if I will or not. I don't even know what the price or conversion rate or whatever, but
right.
But yeah, I don't really like the color of the Joy-Cons. I think it looks kind of gross, but the Pro controller I'm kind of fine with. It looks kind of neat, I guess, because it seems like there's enough black on the controller, and I just like the face of the controller. It has it's not really graffiti, but it kind of has that graffiti kind of look where it's a mess, like there's paint and there's drawings all over it. So I think that's kind of cool. It fits with this style.
I guess as long as this thing doesn't become like super collector item, it's possible we could import them later, if you're really gung ho. But again, that's jumping through a hoop you shouldn't have to. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're not going to get it at this point. I didn't know it was like region locked or whatever you want to call it for now.
Mhm.
But like, you know, they're going the distance with other accessories right now, where they're doing these arms accessories that are like that weird yellow color and
Yeah,
stuff.
that looks gross.
Yeah, you know. So I don't think they're adverse to the American market. It could be a supply issue, like I said. It could be
Sure.
it could be honestly test marketing, or who knows. They're like, this ain't going to be something American players want. You know, it is bright pink and bright green, you know, and surveys show this isn't what our consumers want. They want like other things, and that market is going to get that. I mean, yes, Nintendo is a multi-country, you know, kind of marketing juggernaut, like, or they make decisions based on regions, you know, so they're smarter at this stuff than us. Do they always make smart decisions? No. I'd figure like if they hear enough of an outcry, they'll try to get it over here at some point. I don't know. I'm counting on that because I'd like one. I think it would be enough for me to like pull the trigger and buy it, like, and finally get myself a Pro controller. I think I'd do it if I was like, well, I'm only going to be able to get that color now. That's enough of a like. Well, I can always buy the black one later, you know, whatever. Like if I really hate it, you know, or something, I could sell it because it'll be a collector's item or whatever, and just get a black one or whatever.
Speaking of collector's item, they're also selling the box by itself for $5 in Japan.
What's up with that? I didn't understand that article. I saw that and I didn't understand why, and I never researched it. Like, is it because it's going to be a digital download for most people, so they're selling you a box?
I don't know. I guess it's because people might buy like the Joy-Cons and the game, but they don't have the box, and they like the look of the box. I don't know. I just chalk it up to collector's item. People like boxes. Yeah.
I think that sounds right to me because, yes, people pay a lot for boxes these days. It's a true thing. So interesting.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
But onto the actual game. Did you see the trailer for the single player?
I sure did. It looked great. It looked cool, right? Like, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool. It's not crazily different from the first one. Yeah. It's more like expanded, but I mean, it looks a lot more in depth and more interesting than the first one.
I really liked it too. I thought it felt exactly the same. If you would ask me for my hot take, like one sentence, I'd have been like, looks like Splatoon 1, still makes me like it. You know, like looks like the same game, like in a lot of ways.
That's how I feel about the whole game, to be honest. Yeah. It's better, absolutely. But I mean, it's not as much as I would like out of a sequel from what I get the looks of, like across the whole game. But I mean, it'll be different enough, and it'll still be fun. So it's definitely worth playing.
Yeah, they're not reinventing the wheel. We've definitely hammered that nail a little bit. We know that at this point. It looked really slick. The trailer was well produced. They must have just somebody cool doing trailers these days because they finally figured it out. Like, it was like, wow, this is neat. I get excited. Like, it builds tension in the right way a trailer should. That I'm like, cool. Like, this is like watching a movie trailer. Lots of really quick cuts and like stuff I half see that I'm not quite sure what it was. Like, I really like the moment in the trailer where some kind of really large enemy flew over the Inklings. Like, it looked like a thwomp from Mario flying sideways or something. I only got a glimpse of it because it was like a 1 second clip.
Yeah.
And that was cool. I was like, whoa, there's big enemies in this one. Like, that's neat. Like, you fight a lot of mostly smaller enemies in the single player campaign of the first one. So that would be a neat change if there are things like that in the single player.
Yeah.
I liked, I don't know what to make of it. I thought it was funny how whichever Inkling sister it is that's in the trailer, I forget. They're interchangeable to me.
The green one. Just put it that way. I don't remember the names. It's too
so I was like, whatever. Like, she's the Inkling girl. Like, I like that she's like, her demeanor is completely different. That she's like a classic like Japanese woman, like seemingly adult now, and like something's happened. And I haven't really been following that goofy story. I read the first couple, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I could tell I don't care at all. Like, I was like, whatever. Maybe I'll read it all before the game comes out or something. But yeah, I like that there was like a different look to that. It looked kind of cool. I was like, all right, like, so something's going on here. There's going to be a little bit of a story here that maybe I should get wise to before the game launches. But I thought it looked cool. I still remain excited for it. I know you and me out of the whole podcast here are the whole four of us are the two most excited for this game. So it seemed great to me.
Yeah. I don't even remember the first one's campaign, like how that worked to even see how much different this one is. All I know is I can tell it's different because there's so many more different enemies and just like the level design and stuff. But I don't even remember how the first one works. I think it was just you get this one weapon and then just finish the level. That's all I remember.
There wasn't much science to it. It was like you were at point A. It was pretty much like it wasn't a tube shooter like where you go in one direction, but it effectively was with like transition points. Like you fight your way down like an area, get to the end, hit a transport icon or whatever spot, location, whatever. It shoots you to the next tube, and you fight your way through that area. And usually there were like 3 or 4 areas with different like kind of vertical hazards and like enemies interspiced throughout. But there wasn't too much variety to it. It was fun. I'm not saying it wasn't fun. I liked it. I finished it. Wasn't hard. And yeah, like you said, you really didn't get much variety in weapons. There was just like you had a weapon assigned to you. You had a sub weapon, and you fought your way through that level. And like, you know, kind of ramping up through like different enemies from like the low level nothings to like those really robotic, like aggressive inklings that like really track you and like fight pretty much like an AI version of yourself toward the end, and then some boss fights. I mean, it wasn't particularly creative, but it was visually really good, and I thought it was fun. So this one, the trailer, comparing it to the trailer here, it's too hard to tell for me if it's any different. But because the cutting and the editing of the video was so slick that it was like just too much to take in. I was like, well, there's lots of speedy cuts and there's parts where it's showing you flying or like zipping from one area to another. But that could be transitional effects, not actual gameplay, you know, and things like that. So it was hard to tell like how much was different. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty much the same as the first one. You know, a slightly upgraded version of the first one. But I at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some surprises, because I think there's more to this game than we know that's going to be new. Like, given that when they revealed the horde mode, you know, like that was like caught me off guard, and I was like, that's something I didn't even know I wanted in this game, and now I'm excited as heck for that. It's probably the thing I'm most excited for. That I'm like, I love horde mode fighting kind of things, you know. So that's going to be super awesome. Like to do that in Splatoon with my buddies and stuff. So so I think maybe there's more there, you know, that like that'll make this more like a true sequel with the same look, you know, a very strikingly similar look, but a new game underneath, like to some degree. So, maybe I'm just excited.
No, it looks like fun.
Yeah,
it'll be fun even if it's just the same.
Yeah, totally. New maps, and a few new weapons. Like, not like there weren't enough weapons in the first Splatoon. Am I right? Oh, wait, there were too many. And you got the new upgrade, and wait, there's more, and you got the new upgrade, and you got the new upgrade.
They should fix that so that you, it should be like the PlayStation 4 menu where if you scroll right, you'll find like one weapon type, but if you push down, it'll cycle through like the different variations. So I don't have to scroll right for 50 items to find like, here's one weapon that has a different like sub weapon. It's like, no, that's so messy. Don't do that way. But
I think there'll be a little bit of a learning curve correction for them there, because that was so obtuse, and that's Nintendo. Like, they were figuring out the idea of a game with like kind of like ongoing updates. How does this work? How do we deploy this? You know, updating the game itself, like balance correcting the game on the fly. These are all relatively new things for Nintendo, remember, you know, so it's like that whole like log in after 3 weeks and now have to sit here for 5 minutes while it gives you updates or like the arrangement of the weapons and stuff like that. I mean, Mario Kart has a slick like loadout system where you like can ratchet through each of the types of items you need and stuff like that. And it's a little different, but I think they'll figure that out. I don't have too much worries about that. And plus, you can save your clothing on your Inkling amiibo. Hey, we got that.
That pisses me off, but that's for another story or another day.
Yeah, how about it? So.
But moving on, the other main game they were talking about, I think this Direct was weird because this is how I expected the other Direct to go, because the other one they said it was going to focus on ARMS and Splatoon. And it didn't really. It showed like one trailer for each game and then a bunch of other stuff. This one, actually feels like what it should have. The other one should have been like a month ago. But anyway, they showed off ARMS, and they basically went through the entire game, going through like a bunch of modes and a couple more characters and some online stuff and future plans. So I'm not sure if you watched the direct or watched the trailer pieces, but what did you make of it?
I think I feel like the rest of the internet on ARMS right now. Like I want to like it, or maybe that's not how the internet feels. I know the internet loves to hate things. That darn internet. But I'm not sure what to think of it. Like I want to like it. I am not at this point quite at the place where I would say I'm a day one buyer for ARMS. I could be. Part of it's a personal thing. I'm spending too much money on other games right now. Just retro collecting and stuff. Like I've been a little out of control on buying too many things. So I have to watch myself there, and it definitely impacts my spending elsewhere on say new games. And so ARMS is like I got in.
You don't
I
want
got
to take the risk. Kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, like I do. Like I almost do want to take the risk because I want to support them with new IP ideas. But there's something about this game that I'm a little worried about, and I'm not sure if it's the ARMS fatigue, the literal physical ARMS fatigue issue that like US Gamer reported on, which I take seriously. I actually, it's not worth getting into in detail, but I have a fair amount of like hand and shoulder problems. Like my shoulder is from an old injury. I had to have corrective surgery for my shoulder a few years ago. And I have a lot of like repetitive motion problems with my hands from typing for my day job all day long, where my hands ache a little bit. So I'm pretty sensitive to like issues of that nature as soon as it's brought up. When someone says, no kidding, this game made my arms hurt. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, US Gamer had one of their staff members get some hands-on time with it, and she was reporting, in fact, my arms hurt from playing ARMS because she was using the motion controls one of the ways you can play the game, throwing punches and whatnot. And I believe I didn't read the whole thing, but what I recall when I skimmed it was that she said it did wear her out. And I was like, huh. But it's beyond that for me. I mean, how are you feeling about ARMS from having watched all this stuff and watched the trailer? Where are you at with it? You think it's promising? Is it a miss? Like, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I really like it. I think it looks cool.
I can pause.
Yeah, I didn't know where one to start. I like all the characters. They all have their own personality. There's not a ton of modes, I guess you could say. Like I don't know, people probably get mad at me for saying that, but I mean, there's some neat modes like volleyball and hoops and break the targets and whatever. There's more, I guess there's more modes than I would have expected, but I don't know, it looks like a lot of fun. I guess it's about what I would expect. I don't even know if I'm believing my own stuff right now. I don't know, it looks like fun. I want to try it. It's good that there's more stuff in there. I would have liked a proper, I guess, single player, but I don't know. I'm not surprised that it's just
have they confirmed there's
Grand Prix.
Have they confirmed there's no campaign or single player mode in it?
There is, but it's like other fighting games where you just fight like 10 people in a row, and then you fight like a boss. So
yeah,
I would have liked a Smash Bros. Type of thing or something else. But I mean, like I expected that. I wasn't. I didn't think they were going to go crazy with it, but I like all the characters. It looks like fun. There's, are you going to try out their, their beta test?
The demo beta, yeah. I didn't look at the dates of it. I remember thinking I need to look up those dates and put them on my calendar so I can.
Yeah, it's next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the following Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So May 28th or something like that. So the next coming weekends, 2 weekends in a row. Okay. I'll have to look into that and download whatever app they have for that so I can play it when it goes live and check it out. And then I can report back for sure because my biggest hesitation is like not really very specific. It's like, I think my biggest concern is this going to be fun? Like, it's weird to say that so bluntly, but I'm like, am I going to have fun playing this game? Nintendo is really good at making fun experiences out of odd concepts. And this is a little odd. It's not totally unique. It's a little bit punch outy. It's a little bit like
Custom
smashy.
Robo.
Yeah, a little. Yeah. You know, it's got a lot of different little like kind of little influences there. You can spot big and small. I it's not even a cost thing because I'm an adult with a job. It's not as much like, is $60 too much for this game or not? Not in this case anyway. It's like, is it going to be fun enough that I'm going to want to play it more than a few hours? You know, that's really it. Like, it's like, or am I going to be like, okay, neat. Like, but I'm done standing here over the shoulder perspective, throwing punches at a guy that runs around on the other end of the room. Like, is that going to be enough for me to want to keep coming back to this game? Splatoon somehow, I remember when people were in the like, I don't know what Splatoon is, I don't know if I'm into it, like mode when it was first announced and shown for like the first year when we hadn't heard much about it. And I was pro on that game from the minute I saw it. I was just so excited because Nintendo is going to make a shooter. And I was like, awesome. Like, they don't do that. You know, like, I want that from them. I want their take on a shooter. You know, like, I want that. I want to see if they can make a cute 'em up, shoot 'em up, like, and put their Nintendo like goofy mechanics underneath it, will it be fun? And they totally nailed it. Like, they gave it the sassy 90s, goofy teenage Japanese, like, weird obsession with like what shirt you wear vibe, like whatever. It gave it a lot of personality on top, but underneath it's a really solid, fun action game. But like, it didn't need explaining to me. It was like, it's a squad shooting game. Like, that's automatically fun. This is so different. So, you know, more to come. I'm definitely going to try the beta now that you reminded me about it, and I'm tentatively excited, but it doesn't mean that my reservations are going to be quelled after I play a beta of it. I may still end up being like, I want to read the reviews, you know, or something like that after something like this and see what people think of the longevity of the potential longevity of the game. Nintendo does seem to be putting a lot of weight behind it. So I'd like to think that means good things, you know, that it's because, you know, it's almost like they know when a game is only kind of middling. Like, the signals coming out during Star Fox Zero, for instance, weren't good. It was easy to read the tea leaves, like that. It was like, Nintendo's not like putting the bulldozer behind this one. Yeah. This is more like there's problems here. The marketing's only middling. In fact, they're throwing in a free game with it, you know, for whatever reason, you know, like is that, you know, we'll never know. Was that because like they knew the game was and they wanted to give it a boost? Or was that because like, hey, we made this demo of this other game, but it's not good enough to sell on its own, you know? Like,
yeah, that's pretty much it. You
know, so, but anyway, ARMS, I'm glad there's a new IP. That's my final wrap for now. I look forward to trying it, right? So.
Yeah, it looks like one of those games you'll probably have to try, as far as anyone goes, to see if you like the flow of the game, because it's not like Smash Brothers where you know, you're in someone's face and you can make direct quick contact. This, like, you're throwing out arms and they're pretty long, so there's going to be some delay between when you throw a punch and when it connects, and if it connects. Yeah. So I mean, like, gameplay I've seen, it moves a lot faster than like the first trailer, because the first trailer was kind of not really good. No one really hit each other, and it didn't look like it moved all that fast. It looked very slow paced. Trailer gameplay now like actually looks pretty quick, so that's, I wouldn't say that's my problem with it now, but yeah, because there's such a long stretch between between when you throw a punch and when it connects, it's going to be one of those things where if you try it, you might find out you don't like it, or maybe you do, and I guess that would be my major concern. Because it looks like a lot of fun. I would definitely want to buy it, but it could be one of those games where it's like, yeah, it looks fun, but then you play it and it's just not like jiving with you. So I don't know.
Maybe the tactical element of like all the different elements. I used element twice, but maybe the tactical aspect of the elemental assignments, like wind and water, fire, whatever you can assign to your different like arms, is going to come into play. And that timing thing you're talking about, like, there's more of a thoughtfulness to it that's hard to appreciate when you watch a video of like, okay, he just used his water arm, now I should counter, you know, like, or things like that. Maybe there's that. What we're sitting here talking about to me is like, I realize another reason I'm not as like, I don't want to sit here and hate on it. That's certainly not my goal, but like, something that makes me a little less like like automatically hyped for it is the shame of we're entering an era where Nintendo's conceding that like on the couch side by side play isn't the world's focus like they used to claim it was theirs, and that they need to up their game. And the Switch is like, it's like them meeting that halfway. The idea being, oh, well, if you and your friend have a Switch, you can get together and still play together, and you'll have your own screen each. So it's like, it's still on the couch together play. But like part of it for me, realizing it now, is that I can't invite my non-Switch friends over to play it with me. Like, it's not that kind of game, you know. It's like it's really not going to work right from what I can imagine. Like, I don't even know, does it have split screen? Do we know? Like, could you play? I don't even know.
Yeah, let me look up the modes.
Or is it online competitive only?
There's
like,
local wireless. I'm pretty sure there's split screen. Shoot, I'm not sure. They might have put it up in some other term. I
mean, maybe that'll work if it does have.
So I'll catch off. I do know that you can play with more than just motion controls. You can play with just the one Joy-Con, which they detailed that it doesn't really. You wouldn't want to use it because you lose mobility in one sense. Right. But you could use like a Pro controller or the controller grip, or all the other things. So you can play if you want to have friends over and you're getting a Pro controller. You could still play it. There's split screen, I think.
There is.
It says 4 players split screen. I don't think this is online. It's from like some Nintendo Life or whatever.
Okay, right. Yeah, okay. Then that makes me a little better because like it doesn't look like a game that's natively going to be that great for split screen gaming. Like, it's not like Smash or like, you know, I don't know, other games. You can sit here and name 100 games where you share a screen. Split screen, we all know, is always kind of concession to like just the fact that, you know, more people need to see it. But the longer we live in this modern universe with like everyone having their own tablet, everyone having their own phone, everyone having their own screen, it is like a thing of the past. Even I can see that, where I'm like, is playing Mario Kart on split screen really ideal? You know, no, but you still want to play with your buds, so you do it. Games like Smash, where you share the same main screen, are far more fun, far better. Everybody has the same viewpoint. I find to be more fulfilling anyway in this modern era. You know, it's definitely an evolved perspective for me to have. I used to just adore split screen gaming. I don't as much anymore. But like that, because when you look at ARMS, the perspective is such that like, yeah, your enemy is way across the screen. There is no way the view is ever going to be unified where you're sharing the same visual. It's always going to be split screen, even if split screen is functionally workable in this game, you know. So that affects my interest in it, because like I really love on the couch co-op gaming with my buddies. So I get naturally more excited for a game where I know that's possible in the most optimal situation. Now, one of my good friends that lives nearby does have a Switch, so it wouldn't be a problem for him and me. But then at least 2 of my other close gaming friends don't. So not yet anyway. So it would be a barrier for us.
Yeah.
So what else?
Yeah. One last thing about it is they're actually gonna put out free characters and stage and different arms and whatnot. So just like Splatoon. So I think that's really good. To me, it shows that they're not just kind of poop this thing out and just let it die. They actually want to like push it forward by giving it free content and be like, no, we're still gonna keep, you know, going with this game. Like, who knows if it'll sell or not, but they're gonna push forward anyway.
That's a good sign. You're right. That's the Splatoon marketing strategy all over again. And if they're confirming it now, it does show they have belief in the game. Like, they have belief in the success to some degree, or they're willing to at least hitch their wagon to it to some degree, you know. So that's a good sign. Makes me feel a little better about to hear that. So okay,
cool.
You know, what other news we got?
Sonic Forces lets you create your own original character. Do not steal.
Woohoo! Thank God.
I couldn't help but laugh at that. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? They're doing this?
Yeah. So what? Like a Miitomo type character.
I mean, no, it's not that garish. Like, it's not like that out of place. It's still like an animal that looks like they have a couple: bear, bird, cat, dog, wolf, rabbit, hedgehog.
So
they have like Sonic like animals. But
Yeah.
I just think it's funny because the whole, let's just say there's a very disturbing group of people who draw
Yes.
and create
Yes.
Sonic fan fiction. And when I saw this,
Disturbing.
it was just
Disturbing
hilarious.
or
Yeah.
inspired, my friend.
Oh gosh.
The Sonic Furbies unleashed, baby. Yeah. Oh, brother.
Oh gosh.
I'm such a bad like non-Sonic lover. Like I've wanted to like Sonic my whole life. I've never liked Sonic that much. I own Sonic 1 through 3 on my Sega Genesis, or I have 1, 2, and Knuckles, which is not the same. So yeah, but I don't know. Like I'm never the guy that's like, yay, Sonic. I'm always like almost like ignore it.
Mhm.
I did watch the trailers for this Sonic game. I mean, like that's how pathetic I am. That's all I really have done in relation to it. It does
That's
look
all-
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, like, what are people saying about it? Are people excited for it? People are tentatively open to it, or
Yeah,
I don't know what the Sonic community feels like about these different Sonic games, these 3D type Sonic games or whatever.
I don't know about that because I don't really like delve
Yeah.
into their community or whatever, and I don't
Yeah.
know, it can be hit or miss, I guess, with them. But no, look, I think the reception of this is pretty good, and it looks fun. I mean, it's basically Sonic Generations again, which is fine. That game was pretty good, even though I didn't like the classic Sonic segments. But I kind of want to make like a really stupid character just because you have this ability, and it would just look
Yeah.
so funny in cutscenes if they're like, "Oh man, we thanks to the help of this guy," and he like looks really
Yeah.
screwed up.
That's so funny because like I've been so out of the loop with Sonic, I don't even pay attention to it anymore. And that includes like when you make a reference to the other Sonic game that you just said, I've never even seen it. That's a true fact. Like I'm like,
Oh, Sonic Generations.
yeah, I've heard of it. You know what I mean? But like it's so funny because like Sonic let me down even in his heyday.
Hmm.
And I'm not hating. I'm saying it's just never been the game for me. It's like I get it why people like it on some level, but it's no. I have owned a Sega Genesis on and off throughout my whole life, and I'm always like me, you know, like just never grabbed me this like the way it's supposed to. But I did watch the trailer because I knew we would be talking about it for the news segment today, and I was like, huh, well, okay, I could be open to this. You know, it looks really slick from one trailer. You know, I'm. It's the first time I can say like I even felt like that about a Sonic game where it was anything above a "man, not for me" reaction that I've
Yeah.
had in a long. You know, I was like, huh, look at that. It looks like it got great graphics. Okay, neat.
Yeah.
You know,
To be fair, a
So-
lot of Sonic trailers are like that. It's like, oh yeah, the trailer looks pretty good, and the game comes out. It's like, oh yeah, that was a load of crap.
I knew that.
They're
yeah,
so
I knew
hit. The games are so hit and miss, so that's why it doesn't even matter that like you haven't bothered. Like I'm not a crazy fan or anything. That it's not like Mega Man to me, where it's like, oh, I got to keep my hand on the pulse of this series. But I mean, like, yeah, it's just really hit or miss.
Yeah,
There's
picked
some
up on
decent
that.
games, but it's so hit and miss. It's like you might as well just wait for a review to come out and then like someone to tell you if it's worth playing or not. That
Yeah,
kind of
I've
thing.
picked up on that. The internet lets you know that Sonic usually sucks these days. You know, like
Yeah.
so. I picked up on that, which is contributes directly to me never caring. That I'm like, look, I don't even like him in Smash Brothers. I'm like, oh, one's playing Sonic. This is gonna suck. You know, like this guy's just gonna jump on me every a couple seconds, and I'm gonna be like, what? Stop it! You go back to your Sega games. You know, like just. I'm like, God, he's like the most boring action moveset of any character in the game, and is really, really powerfully devastating when someone knows how to use him. So I'm always like, this just makes me like you less. You know, get your lock on attacks out of here. You know, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, other than that, so I'm open to the idea of a new Sonic game if it continues to look good. Keep us posted because it's the kind of thing I ignore almost subconsciously when I see Sonic news. I like scroll past it. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm a Nintendo kid. I don't care. I don't care that he works for Mario now. I don't care. Like, it's I'm out of here. So, yeah, I'm interested.
Alrighty then. Do you know Parappa the Rapper?
Oh yeah, man. I played the heck out of the second one on PlayStation back in the day.
Oh, cool. So, the creator of that and the creator of Guitaru Man, which I didn't really know before, it's another rhythm game.
Yeah, that's an
have come together.
expensive retro game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I bet. Does it need a peripheral?
I don't think so. I think it's just kind of rare. Guitaru Man, is that the one you're saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I've looked it up before because I was curious about it because of Parappa the Rapper, and I think it was more than I was willing to play for a PlayStation disc. So I was like, I guess I'll never play that, was my reaction. Like, it's very Japanese looking. It's got a really Japanese sensibility. I mean, not that Parappa doesn't. Like, Parappa kind of does in a way. It's got almost like an American hip hop doggy with like Japanese flavored characters like around him. But I mean, Gitaru Man, I mean, even the name Gitaru, you know, it's like there's something about it. You're just like, it's very Japanese. It looked way harder than Parappa the Rapper, just visually anyway. Like I was like, but it's a similar kind of game. But you were saying that the creator of such games is Gitaru Man.
Yeah, both the creators of Parappa the Rapper and Gitaru Man have like come together to make a new rhythm game. It's called Project Rap Rabbit.
Okay.
They've had some issues because the first time they posted their Kickstarter with like this lengthy stretch goal list, they put the Nintendo Switch version at £5 million,
Okay.
which is insanely high. It's when games usually have stretch goals for other platforms, it's not usually that high, and it's definitely not like the last thing they put on their list. It's like maybe a third of the way through or something. But
Right.
that kind of pissed some people off. So then they restructured it and like fixed it. So now it's at £1.5 million or whatever. But unfortunately, this game doesn't look like it's going to get funded.
Yeah.
It got posted like a couple of days ago. Right now it's at 27 days ago. And when I saw it a couple of days ago, it was like at £80,000. And now it's a little twice more than that. It's £115,000 out of 855,000. It's basically like what, not even a fourth of the way there. It's like a fifth or the sixth of the way there. And
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna catch much attention.
Okay. That's a shame because I really like Parappa the Rapper, the single game I played in the series. I played two. And I know one of my very, very favorite podcasts that I always want to give a shout out to any time I can, for anything retro. Retronauts is one of the best websites and like podcasts around for retro gaming news. And I love the editors that work over there. Jeremy and Bob are both like just awesome, awesome game critics. I think Bob Mackey, who's one of the hosts of Retronauts, one of his favorite all-time games is a game called Lammy Jamma or Jamma Lammy. Do you know what I'm talking about? I think it's
No.
also okay. It's like Jammer Lammy. I'm typing it like into Google the best way I can think of how to spell it. Jammer Lammy.
Oh yeah, Jammer Lammy was the like sequel
Lammy.
sort of to Parappa the Rapper or the
Yeah.
spin-off or whatever.
So Bob Mackey on Retronauts always uses any opportunity to mention that game, how it's one of his favorite games of all time, because I think he just thinks it's really funny and it's got the same kind of like rhythm game play action as Parappa. And so I've never played that. And like, so I you know, like, yeah, Parappa the Rapper. I mean, that game was a humongous success. Even people like me who were very, very casual PlayStation owners played it. I looked up just now, just to correct what I said before about Gitaru Man. Gitaru Man is relatively expensive for a PlayStation 2 game, but like if you would sit and camp on eBay and try to win an auction like until you got it for the right price, you could probably bring it home for between 50 and 60 bucks, like which is a lot for a PlayStation 2 game, but I mean, you know, it's hardly expensive. You know, it's the same price as a new game today.
Yeah.
So it depends on your perspective on that stuff. It's not unreasonably expensive. I wanted to correct that because yes, I could play it if I wanted to. I think I looked at it and thought it looked cool, but it wasn't enough of a get for me to like go after it. I don't really collect PlayStation 2 enough to like bother at this point. Although it's kind of on my radar now that I think about it. It's the kind of thing if I saw it somewhere for a reasonable price, I might buy it because I've heard good things. I've heard it's very hard compared to Parappa the Rapper, but that's all I really know. So yeah, so you don't think the rap, what's it called, Rap Dog? What's it called?
Rap Rabbit.
Rap Rabbit. That's such a goofy title. Rap Rabbit's not going to make its funding. Well, that's a shame. It's not even going to make its funding for its primary goals for.
I don't
the
think
other
it's
system.
going to get funded.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because it's just going so slowly that like to be able to drum, like you only have one chance to start gaining traction, And
Yeah.
if you don't in the first couple of days, it doesn't really seem like you're gonna get anywhere, especially if you have like such an expensive goal. I mean, I know this isn't expensive as far as Kickstarter games go. It's about 1.5 million, well, at least Canadian. I forget US, but let's just say a million US for whatever reason. But yeah, if there's a certain point where it's like you might be able to slide by if it's a low enough goal, but this is like such a high goal as far as money is concerned, and they're not that far that I don't think they're going to raise like this much money over the course of a month.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Kickstarter model, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just too many things trying to like get funding before the thing's made. And I understand things cost money to make, but I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a shame, because I think that the people behind those games, if it's the same people, they deserve our trust. But at the same time, if you told me there was a new Parappa the Rapper game on Switch, I would think to myself, that game should be $20. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't think, oh boy, Parappa the Rapper, I should pay $50 for that anymore. You know, like I'd be like, it's a rhythm game. It's got like, you know, cute animation style, but it's a rhythm game, you know, like, and so that also factors into the kickstarting mentality of like, well, how much would I give these people? Well, I wouldn't give them a whole lot, because like how much do I think the game is worth, which translates to needing a lot more people to donate, which, you know, I don't know. Rhythm games aren't the hardcore audience necessarily. We all have fond memories of Parappa the Rapper, but it's not the hardcore audience appeal type thing. It's a niche-y, cute little thing that happened, you know, so it's like, well, I don't know. That's a shame, but who knows?
That's a good point too. It's like a niche area that it's hard to get funding for. Like a Mega Man or a Castlevania is like, they have such long running franchises that like enough people have gotten into them, so it's kind of like easy for someone to say, hey, we're making a new one, and like get it funded. But this is like, this series like stopped after basically 3 games. The first Parappa the Rapper, and then 2, and then I'm Jammer Lammy. That was basically it. I guess Guitar Hero Man was technically in PS2, but that's could still be like a decade ago, depending on what year it came out. But I don't know.
It's not a genre. It's not a genre that creates like that sense of you've got to have it. It's like, it's a rhythm game. Like, it's a rhythm game.
But it's
like,
weird too, because Kickstarter is also the place where like really weird niche things do get funded, because like other like publishers won't pay for it or whatever. I don't know.
True.
It would be
It's
nice
hard to say.
if it happened, but
there's a lot of graduate students in marketing and research out there doing grad papers right now on the highs and lows of Kickstarter. Maybe we could ask them. So I don't know, but who knows?
I think they should have had it at like an E3 press conference, because I think that would have actually like got people's attention a lot better. Like the PlayStation conference, they could have hosted it there. What was it, last year or 2 years ago? They had like 2 or 3, or maybe it was just the one Kickstarter. They had Shenmue 3 there. It was just a Kickstarter. They're just like, hey, it's launching now on Kickstarter, and they did that. I mean, I know maybe that's a different case for niche status or whatever, but I think it's just one of those things where like you really have to get people's attention.
Yep. No, I hear you.
And just posting out like on social media, it's like, yeah, this thing is coming. It's like, okay, well, this is a niche enough game where you have to get a lot of people's attention, and just, you know, a couple of articles on websites I don't think is going to do enough, especially when there's no like concept of gameplay. Like, they've listed what they would do, but there's no like test or no like demo or something that they're showing off.
Yeah,
just,
that's
like,
certainly
concept art and ideas.
I've heard,
So.
like a lot of like the very, well, I shouldn't say a lot. The few times I've read articles of people who have done successful Kickstarters and things like that, having that demo proof of concept is a big help. You know, when you put something out for people to see and show and show you're serious and can actually make a game and etc. You've got a real studio, you know, like ready to make this thing. That's a big factor. So. Too bad, Project Rappin' Rabbits. We'll have to wait a few more decades till somebody can make a Rappin' Rabbit game. Because now that you say
Rappin' Rabbits, jeez.
Rappin' Rabbit. Oh, I want some Rabid Rabbids in my life. Maybe another big company, wink wink, could make me a Rapid Rabbit game and I could buy it. So that'd be great.
Jeez.
So, oh great. Yeah. While I'm sitting here, I'm cleaning old N64 games, and I just discovered Jet Force Gemini was practically glued to the back of Resident Evil 2. That's no good. Like, looks like one of the labels on one of them is like trying to melt into the back of the other cartridge. So, yeah, ew, that's right. So, yeah. There's some what I've been cleaning news.
Right,
Seems like Gemini needs a good scrub because it's got some weird glue on it. So
yeah.
All
right. There's one last thing I guess we can talk about before we go. Whatever. So there's a Wall Street Journal rumor saying there's going to be a Zelda mobile game coming, apparently in 2018. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm like, well, I saved this because I thought I could talk about what I've been playing, but I needed a tablet for a trip I'm taking later this year. I don't have a smartphone. Haha, insert funny joke about me. Like here, I still rock a dumb phone. And
oh, I got a slide phone. I get people looking at me at work.
Yeah, totes, bro.
Like, what is that?
Totes, bro. Yeah, I spend enough time on computers as it is, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I bought like the cheapest Amazon Fire tablet you can get. I bought it for like $30 on eBay, brand new. Like, so it's not a great piece of machinery. It's flimsy and it doesn't work quite right. And I just jailbroke it today so I could like add stuff to it that it needed, like so it would work better than it does natively, and take off all the crappy ads and stuff that it comes pre-installed with. Anyway, there's my Amazon rant. But it was, what do I expect? I paid $30, but I expect the world, people. And I hate tablet computing to begin with because it's like, where's the keyboard, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, enough, Clay. You hate these things. Got it. But I was like, wait, I just jailbroke this. I could install Google Play on it, so I did that and like got Google Play up and running a few hours ago. And downloaded Miitomo and downloaded Mario Run and played each of them for all of 4 minutes before I was bored and felt like Mike being like, what is this plebe crap? What is this plebe? That's right, Mike, you're not even correct me. Plebe crap. Like, and I might go back to Mario Run. Miitomo, I didn't even understand. I was like, wait, it's the dollhouse. I thought I already hated this when I played it in Tomodachi Life. And then I played Mario Run. So getting to your question, if it's as boring as Mario Run was after a few seconds, and it's like a one-button, quote, video game, I will give it the Mike stamp of hatred and dismissal. Like, I'll be like, this is for babies with baby brains. But, like, maybe there's more to Mario Run than I saw. Like, I will admit that. I played it for literally 5 minutes. Was like frustrated with this because I was like, I don't like this idea of banging the screen and make Mario jump. It just seems dumb. I was like, I want a controller, but that could just be me being a jerk. And I'll come back here next week and be like, you know what? I was wrong, because I could easily see that happening. Zelda, I'd want to know a lot more. Like, I mean, this is only a rumor at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised though, because of course they're going to use like their biggest faces to make mobile games out of.
Of course. I mean, I wouldn't want an endless runner Zelda, which I wouldn't expect them to make. Mario was a better fit for that, like, and I know it's not technically an endless runner. It's like a platformer, but it would depend. Like, like show me the money here, like I want to know what it is, like if I guess I have zero experience with mobile games. So to me, I'm like, well, I don't really know what creative angles you can take with the genre, if I can be so rude as to call mobile gaming a genre. But like, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, if it was like purely like Zelda 1 style dungeons with puzzles, maybe it could be awesome. Like, it'd be fun. Like, just solve puzzles, because I like puzzle games on DS and stuff. I don't know. I would think that would be the direction they go with Zelda, because they certainly aren't going to go like action Ocarina of Time, experience. I would think that would be too robust just of an experience to get on the phones. I would think puzzler or something would be the natural way to go with it. Like lots of torch lighting and block pushing, or something like that, like
Yeah.
would be a way I could imagine someone going with a Zelda property, but I don't know. What do you? I mean, you've been dabbling with the mobile games they've released so far. I know you even played with the Fire Emblem one. I think. Like, what do you think about the biggest, the holiest of the holies, the Zelda, coming to your phone near you? Like, what do you think about it?
Like the other mobile games, I probably wouldn't care. I'd probably do what you did, play it for like a little bit and then get bored of it. Just same with Mario Run. I actually thought it was neat how they made Mario Run or Mario work on a phone, but at the same time, I just could not care about mobile games. Like I played it a lot for that, like one or two sittings, and then after I just forget about like mobile games. I'm like, oh yeah, right. I got my fill. You got your first 15, not first 15 minutes, but not 15 minutes of fame, but I guess you could say that as far as like playing goes, like, oh, I got my first taste of it, and it's like, well, that's about it. I don't care anymore. So like longevity wise, I'd probably play this and not touch it. I didn't even buy Mario Run because I knew that's how I was going to react. But I don't know. I didn't think of it as. I think your idea will probably work better, like like a level select where you just tackle different puzzles for each level, sort of thing. That is probably what it's going to be. I was thinking it could be like Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks, where that game didn't even use buttons all that much. It was mostly the touch screen. You drag to move Link, and then you tap on the screen to slash.
Holy crap! That's totally true.
That's basically a mobile. Like, it was on a handheld, so I guess you could say it was a mobile game already. But I mean, that was more of a mobile Zelda. The closest thing to a mobile game Zelda game you could get.
Wow, yeah, you're right, man. So, I never even put that together. You could literally make a micro sequel or even a port potentially of those games, like to a larger screen tablet. I don't know how well it would work on a little phone, a smaller phone screen or whatever, but yeah, like, geez, like if you could, I mean, I think they're going to continue to separate the spheres. They don't want to poach their own sales by giving you big games, like more robust games on a phone. They want to give you what they think of as a mobile experience, because they're old school, the way I'm voicing my old man grumpy ideas about tablets and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of that guides Nintendo's view of the industry to some degree, also on the developers end, and that they would want it to be a smaller game that, is suitable to a phone, isn't a very robust experience. So like the idea of them porting Spirit Tracks to a phone, highly doubtful. Is it out of the realm of possibility, given that that game's old and isn't selling anymore and probably wouldn't be like a smash hit even if they dropped it on the Switch or something like that right now? Yeah, I guess it's possible, because it would be like, well, we're not really poaching our own sales. We're just repackaging an existing game. Do I think that's what they're going to do? No. Like, I think your idea is really on point. Like, if they wanted to get deep with it, they could make like a chapter-based version of like one of those a game like one of those games, with the completely touch controlled. I personally would rather be a lot more like Phantom Hourglass, because I did not like Spirit Tracks. I got bored of it really fast and only put a few 5-6 hours into it. I didn't like the train motif after I got sick of it. Like, I was like, this is enough's enough. Like, this is boring. Like, you're trying to do the boat from Wind Waker, and it's just boring because I'm on a track and I don't like it. But I liked Phantom Hourglass a lot. I think a lot more than a lot of people. I thought it was pretty good, especially for a DS game. I was like, this is a good game. Wow, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, now that you put it that way, they've already done a mobile Zelda. They just got to do that again, and then bang, they could have a hit. Do chapters, and that could solve the sales problem too. Give you chapter 1 and 2 for free, and just be building up to the part where you get the good weapons and the story's darkening out, or something like that, and then paywall it, and then say, okay, yeah, to see what happens. If you want to touch that Ganon, you got to pay the piper, bro. If you want to see the Tingle dance, you got to put pennies in the jar, bro.
If you want Tingle to tingle you got to pay extra.
If you want Tingle to tingle all over you, you're gonna have to pay Miyamoto.
Yeah, and even the chapter based thing, they've even done that before with Four Swords Adventure had like level select, and I think one of the other games did it as well.
Yeah.
But I know Four Swords Adventure did that because I was researching it for a video. I didn't
Yep.
even, that was news when I researched it because I didn't even play Four Swords Adventure. But I mean, they've done level select there, so that's probably what it's going to be. Like, they're not really going to
Yeah.
make a huge world.
Yeah, you're
or
right.
anything,
Yeah,
but
Four Swords is the exact template. Yeah, I played a good bit of that with my friends on our DSs when we got it for the ambassador or whatever that they gave that game out for free. I didn't love it. I don't know how far we got in it. It was okay. I'm glad I didn't ever spend a ton of money to play that on GameCube or whatever, but it was all right. But yeah, it is. It was like dungeon based map screen, that you could like pick and go to a different area, per your decisions, which confused us. It actually confused us. I remember because it was like, well, which one should we do? Like, was our reaction to it? Because it's a Zelda game and you expect it to be linear. It's like, it looks like we can pick. Well, do we need to do this one before do that one? So that we have the right weapons. I don't know. Let's just try it. I remember us actually having a conversation of being confused because we weren't sure if going to one of the areas would make it impossible to finish if we hadn't done the earlier areas or whatever, But that's funny. Interesting. So, okay. Well, so I'm not closed off to the idea of it. It's probably not for me because like the only reason I would play a tablet game would be because I didn't have any other thing to do. And for me, it's almost like if I have a tablet and I don't have my DS, I don't have my Switch, and I don't have a computer. Well, I guess I'd probably just look at the internet because the internet's more interesting than a one-button video game on average to me, But, maybe not. Maybe it's just not for me. So,
well, the interesting thing I was looking up about these level select based Zelda games is, from what I can tell, they're all multiplayer. So,
yeah,
because I thought like a level select Zelda game doesn't seem like fun because the whole point of that series is that it's an open world, single player adventure that's long and you collect different things along your journey, blah blah blah.
Right.
But like a level select doesn't really seem that fun because if you just take the puzzles out of it, like sure the puzzles can be fun, but it's not. The puzzles aren't what make it entirely fun. It's not just like, oh yeah, the puzzles are great, I hate everything else. It's like how everything comes together that makes it fun. But like when you're playing with friends, basically any game can be fun. But if you're just playing this level select thing by yourself, I don't know if that'll be fun. Like it's like playing Triforce Heroes or whatever yourself. I mean, it's different because those were set up to have three people like work, or the puzzles were made for three people specifically. But same kind of scenario. Like, is that really going to be fun just playing by yourself, like selecting a level and your stuff doesn't really matter? Like something like Box Boy or Pushmo seems a lot more interesting for a level select puzzle game.
Yeah,
because it just works better in bite-sized chunks, whereas Zelda is better if it's like a lot more complex, and they're not going to do that if you want to have like 40 levels or something. So I don't know.
I mean,
it
I
doesn't
agree with
sound
you.
like it'll be a good. I guess it depends how they make it, but it doesn't sound all that appealing if it's what I think it
agree
is.
with you. I agree with you. The only thing I have concern about is that like current history of Nintendo doesn't necessarily preclude that they wouldn't do the fun thing, because Four Swords Adventures and like the Metroid Prime soccer game or whatever it's called, like were games that are clearly designed to be multiplayer experiences in franchises that aren't historically mostly known for that, and they still went ahead with it because they're trying to thread the needle of knowing that people really like multiplayer games, so they're repurposing their existing brands to be multiplayer even if it's not a perfect fit. So I don't know.
I'm talking about basically going the other direction. Like they're taking a game that would work better as a multiplayer and then making it single player.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just spitting into the dark here, so who knows? We'll have to wait till see if the rumor is probably true. I mean, you could make that rumor up and it would be true. It'd be like Nintendo's developing a Zelda mobile game, and it'd be like, yeah, you made that up with no source and you were right. I mean, is it the next game after Crossing? Like the only real thing is like that was like, oh, but it's coming next after Animal Crossing, and it's like, again, your odds are really good there. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what to think. Maybe so, maybe not. So we will see. We will see.
Yep. So I think that about wraps it up for this week. There were only 2 of us, but we still went longer than any of our 4 people episodes. But it's just more goodness for you.
As always.
So you can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and VidMe. And Unoclay, where can people find you?
Probably the best way to find me currently is if you want to be friends on Nintendo Switch would be the most pertinent place to mention. You could hit me up. My Twitter account for my Switch photos is Unoclay_Switch. That's UNOCLAY_Switch. And my friend code is in my profile description there. You can send me a friend request so that when Splatoon time comes, or maybe even ARMS, we can fight each other online. And that's probably the best place to find me for now. I'm still over at my IGN on a once-a-week basis, checking in just to tell everybody who checks in like me, yes, I'm still alive. And then that's all we talk about. And then we disappear again. So, so that's it.
All right. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on every platform on the internet. Hit us up with your questions. If you want to be a guest, you can message me at the Mango Viking. So we'll see you next time. Leave gaming to Nintendo.
Why is everyone so sensitive nowadays? You can't even call it a Nintendo Switch anymore. You gotta call her Caitlin.